Hey there, thanks for joining us again. It's Alicia and Daniel Weiss here of Family Asset Allocator. And as always, we're jumping on here to just discuss another important topic when it comes to divorce and going through that process. So if you are someone who is considering a divorce, maybe you started the process and there's children involved, that's definitely something that you want to think about early on to figure out, how you're going to help those children through the divorce and how you should plan for, telling them that it's going to happen and kind of what they can expect. Because obviously they're going to see the situation a lot differently than you and your spouse. So Daniel, go ahead and just kind of tell us a little bit more about preparing the children in this sort of situation.
Yeah, having children in a potential divorce situation adds an incredibly high level of complexity to the situation. And I say that because there's a before, a during, and an after. Where if you don't have children, none of that exists, right? It's really just you and your spouse. And while it can still be a somewhat painful process, children just make it so much more significant, and so much more heavy, really. So again, there's really three things to think about. The communication, the conversation you're going to have with them to explain what's happening, and really what your reasoning is for it. And ideally, you want to kind of role play that through yourself, especially if you have more than one child with different ages. You want to think about, well, how is one child going to react? How do I communicate with one child versus another that's going to be the most effective? And then you need to also explain what may happen as part of the divorce, whether one party is going to be with the children more or less during the divorce process versus after. You really want to think about explaining that to them, and also, try to think about how long the divorce might take, and what changes, might happen in terms of going to different houses, different belongings, things like that. It really helps to be able to contemplate all that so that you're answering questions from the children that you already have the answers basically in your head. And then finally, there's the after. For better or worse, you're going to have a relationship with your spouse because you have children after the divorce. Even if the spouse isn't that active, they're still going to have some level of involvement. And so you need to think about the term co-parenting, and how are you going to be co-parenting with your former spouse? And how are you going to be able to set aside emotion for the benefit of the kids to move forward after the divorce so that the kids can still have a good upbringing?
All right, so one last question for you. If you are going to be sitting down to have that conversation with the child to discuss, before, during, and after the divorce and what they can expect, would you suggest that you have a conversation with your spouse first about that? Because I would guess that you wouldn't want, both spouses individually to kind of come up with this scenario and then have the both parents telling the child something different. That could confuse them. That could make the situation even more stressful for them. So this is probably a conversation you should have with the spouse if you can.
Yes, ideally. It all depends on how well you're communicating with your spouse in the first place. Yes, if you're both communicating, if you both feel similarly about the children, there's a lot of if-thens there.
Right.
But yes, ideally, you both want to be on the same page in terms of the message that you're going to be conveying to the children. This gets into a whole other complex part of, how to communicate with the children about your spouse, after and during the divorce. Regardless of the feelings that you have towards your spouse, that you want to try to not share those with your children.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a whole separate topic.
I was going to say, absolutely. We can definitely cover that topic in a future video.
Right.
So
yes.
If you're interested in that, make sure you're staying tuned. We're going to be posting a topic like this every week on FamilyAssetAllocator.com, as well as on their social media platforms, just to kind of, be used as a valuable resource, whether it is you going through the divorce or if you're a divorce attorney who is able to use these videos for your clients to give them these links so that they can watch these videos themselves. If you're a divorce attorney that's interested in using Family Asset Allocator software to help your clients separate their assets and their debts in a stress-free and a little less painful way, make sure you are checking out the website, signing up for that free trial, and getting in contact with the team. So thank you all for watching, and thanks, Daniel.
Thank you.